Anime conventions in Japan versus the US. It's pretty different. I've gone to a lot in the US as a cosplay photographer, and my experience at an anime convention all the way in Japan was completely different. Alright, so here is the convention location, and it's actually right across the bay, and we get kind of a nice view here. It takes place at Tokyo Big Sight, but we're on the other side, so there was quite a bit of a long line, but luckily it didn't take too long to get in. It took about maybe 30 minutes or so, but eventually we all huddled our way in. Thank God, because the sun was blazing down. When visiting Japan, always bring an umbrella for the heat and the rain. So we're finally inside, and there are a lot of people here. So this Japanese convention is very different from the American ones. There's a lot of displays promoting different animes, and if you turn to this side, I think these people have some sort of panel going on. I'm not exactly sure what they were saying. Looks like a game is being promoted here, and right next to it we have a merch booth. There wasn't a whole lot to buy here, unlike there is in American conventions where there's merch booths everywhere. But over here there are a lot of displays, mainly to promote new and upcoming things, but there are still some areas where you can buy items. There's a really cool Demon Slayer display over there. I like how it looks like a wooden structure, and it is very crowded here. So here's another merch booth, and if we walk up to it, we can see some feet. We can see some of the interesting stuff they're selling, some very questionable things. I ended up walking some more and found this place that was celebrating its 100th anniversary for something, and it's a bunch of yellow items, and I don't know what any of this is for, so we're just gonna go away. So here's a convention I went to recently in the US. It's definitely more shopping centric. Like, you can easily find gunplay here, which surprisingly I didn't see any for sale at Anime Japan, but over here we'll find some local stuff as well. Generally, we're a lot more spacious, so things are more spread out. You'll still find degenerate things here, and then you'll find the overpriced AliExpress items, and then more things at an insanely high price. I mainly prefer to support the smaller scale companies and artists nowadays. It's actually interesting to see that they're trying to bring gachapon to the US. Now back to Anime Japan, and as I walked further down, over here there appears to be another display probably for you to take photos. Now you might also notice there's quite a lack of cosplayers here. That's because there's a completely different section for cosplayers. You might see some people roaming around in cosplay, but most of them want photos, so they're going to be in the cosplay photo section. So I found this interesting booth, and it had some really interesting items. It had virtual anime goals for display on your phone. Unfortunately, I can't read any of this, so I really don't know exactly what it is, but there's some there's pole dancing going on. Okay. But I was going to say, this all looks very, interesting, slightly questionable. So that was just one section of the convention. There's actually quite a bit more. But for now, I'm trying to head over to the cosplayer section because I had my camera with me and I wanted to take some cosplay photography. It's something I've done at the many Western conventions I've been to. Like, I've done a lot of this, and it's pretty much how I've gotten to know as many people as I do now. Alright, so here's the area. Well, you can take photos here. I can't really show you anything on the left side because they were very strict about photos and videos there. Doesn't make sense to me why you want a photo area next to places you can't take photos of. I didn't get as much footage of this as people in Japan are more cautious about filming for privacy reasons, and cosplayers have to change into and out of their cosplays at the event. Pretty different in the US where you'll see cosplayers everywhere at a convention, and you can take photos pretty much anywhere. And sometimes there's even Itachi cards you can take photos in front of. But back to Japan, here me and my friend walked around the convention a bit more. Over here you can see a giant Luffy. This convention is really a lot more like an expo than a convention. While you can still buy stuff like this, it's really meant to more so promote different things. You're not really going to find anything local here. I believe there's a different convention for that. Everything here is entirely meant to be an expo, and they even have separate days meant to be for just business days that are not open to the general public. So they had this really cool display of a Gundam head from one of the more recent Gundam series, and some other stuff on display. We found this area which seemed really aesthetic. And we have a bunch of anime girls. I have no idea what they're from. And there's more on this side. And I found a little area with some Gintama stuff, as well as some promotional material for One Punch Man. I do plan on going back to this convention again, and maybe I'll do some extra vlogging. I plan to get a DJI Osmo Pocket 3, so hopefully my video quality and filming will be better. And here's a quick look at some of the things inside the Good Smile booth. Yes, that thing, there's somebody in there. And we have a bunch of anime figures. Now turning over to this side, this is really cool. It's a big sort of almost volume triple screen. This could be amazing for video production and photography. Anyways, me and my friend continued to walk around some more. She got a free one-piece bag, and after walking around a bit more, this caught my eye. And as I got closer to it, I ended up finding some ReZero characters, and this is really cute. Now in the US, we might have some panels that we can go to. There was sort of some of that here in some of these stages, but it's in areas where I couldn't really take footage of. The ones here are more professionally run panels rather than ones being done by fans, because everything you see here is from basically a larger company. And while the exposition stuff does look cool, like it seems like they put a lot of effort into it, it would have still been nice to see some more community-driven stuff. But I guess that's not really what this convention is for. Like, while you can buy stuff, none of it is going to be fan-made. We saw this selfie thing, which was kind of cool. You can use your hand to select a different character. This was kind of fun to mess around with, and you can get a picture taken with them. Now, we did find this Cospa booth, which sold various items, and the prices were fairly decent. I don't think much here is exclusive to this convention. My friend saw this Dark Magician Girl shirt later in Akihabara, and I almost bought it there. In fact, I think some of the prices here were a little bit more than retail, but there were some definitely cool and tempting items, and I ended up just buying 2 shirts from here. Overall, my experience at this convention was fairly interesting. It definitely wasn't what I was expecting, and very different from Western conventions.